Underlying your work is a very strong emphasis on system thinking. So I'd like you to explain what the difference is between systems thinking and system thinking.
I found in working with engineers, each one was optimizing on their subsystem, their piece. And you go to specialists and physicians, and they are experts on the alimentary canal, the kidney, the liver, the muscles. And if they don't understand that all those have to go together for total health and well-being and survival, then you get funny things happening. My late father-in-law, who had an endowed chair of medicine at the University of Virginia Medical School, which is a school you might be familiar with, he had an endowed chair of medicine. And he was an anesthesiologist of some note. And he told us that every once in a while he would follow up on a patient, which is unusual for an anesthesiologist to do that. And he's found them on 5 or 6 medications. You can just see their condition just going down and down and down and down and down. And because they weren't looking at drug interactions, each one was creating their system. And so what he did is he took them off of all medication and they got better. And so that's why the systems is when you look at the pieces and optimize on that. That's like optimizing on 3rd grade learning and not worry about 2nd grade contributions and what they have to do in the 4th grade and beyond. So systems tends to be very popular because it allows you to limit, but understanding there's interaction between the parts while you do that. But the system concept starts and ends with mega, where everything has to add value up a value chain, which goes from inputs and ingredients, processes, how to do it, building block results, products, what you can deliver, outputs, and the impact on external clients and society, which is outcomes. Mega, macro, micro, process, input. That linking.
I think most of the people who are familiar with your work think of it more in terms of applying in corporate strategic planning, but not so much in the fields of instructional design or instructional technology. Why do you think that is?
Now we've seen the field expanding. AECT, ISPI, ASTD. ASTD has now formally said, focus on instruction is dead. And now they're talking about more holistic frames of reference. And sometimes the people just laggard because I don't want to change. I'm liberal, but I don't want to change. And so the field is broadening. I see the field as broadening at a terribly accelerating rate. And there are some people who just don't want to keep up with that. Either they don't have the energy, they don't have the openness, they don't have the integrity. And then let's get back to your work. This is about ethics. In your book, you're saying, look, it's ethics by design. That has to be a core of this, because not just doing, as Peter Drucker said, it's not about doing things right, but it's also first about doing what's right. And what's right to me, and I think other people, is about adding value to all stakeholders inside and outside the organization.
Many of the founding figures in our field really wanted to make a difference. Are we doing that, or have we gotten off track?
Peter Drucker wrote something one time labeled The New Realities. And I picked up on that theme of new realities of our field. And for instance, reality is not divided into courses, programs, teachers, classrooms, media. It isn't divided into policies, programs, politics. It's more holistic than this. And I think if people step back from themselves, like Itzen did by asking if our university is the solution, what's the problem? If people stand off and say, if what I'm doing is the solution, what's the problem? That makes you enlarge, if you're honest, enlarge your context. And I think that, I don't know, maybe the way universities are organized now with, programs and departments and divisions and things like that, there's a fragmentation that might be happening. And for you to get hired and then for you to get promoted, you have to do something in that area that's successful to the people who hired you. And so I don't know whether that might be limiting people who want to go horizontal as well as vertical. And so maybe it's the way we organize in companies and colleges and universities and schools. It'd be interesting to pursue to see whether the social structure that's put on there affects how people go about thinking.
A student asked you what your hobbies were, and your response was simply mega. So first of all, is mega your hobby?
I love travel. I love travel. And I love to get into different cultures and see how they do things. And it's always interesting to me to see what they harvest because of their culture. We went to make a presentation in India a year ago, and I thought I'd seen abject poverty in Central and South America, and there was nothing there that could compare with what I saw in India. And then I saw there were two levels of abject poverty in India. And when you started asking the questions, you get really strange kinds of answers. And and part of it was a subculture event. One group felt that there's nothing you can do. Your role in life has been dealt to you from birth, and you just go through life hoping. And another culture that says, I can get out of this. And you could just see what they were doing in really bad situations. So I learn a lot from traveling and doing work in other countries. And while I'm there, I try to put some time in for sightseeing and doing stupid things like whitewater rafting and breaking an ankle.
Your relationship with Jan is very special. I don't think anybody could say they legitimately know you without knowing about you and Jan.
We're real partners, and I'm get very emotional. I'm very blessed, and she's also my most avid critic and supporter. I mean, she doesn't let me get away with anything, and I run things past her, and she says, "Well, what about this? You missed that. That's a good point." And it's nice to have that kind of partnership.
Is there anything else you would like to address or add?
The world holds so much promise. There's so much we could be doing and contributing if we would get out of our doctrinaire stances and look to see how we individually and then collectively can add to making this a measurably better world. And look at the consequences of not doing that. Are we, if we're not adding value to our shared world, are we subtracting value? And my concern is, I think we have the capability to add value to our shared world. And just hope we can get more people to join the conversation and join the journey.